Reborn back in my senior year of high school, I directly pulled the school's cold beauty into an empty warehouse. The girl's clothes were already half removed. She was helplessly huddled in a corner. It seemed she already knew what her fate would be today, but I silently told myself, no matter what, I couldn't let her go today, even if it meant keeping her here overnight. It's just that in my past life, while I was looking after my family's supermarket, I caught the school beauty shoplifting, but to save her face, I chose to turn a blind eye. As a result, the moment she walked out the door, she got into a car accident. This incident became a thorn in my heart. If I had been cruel enough to keep the cold beauty that day, then the tragedy that followed wouldn't have happened. So, being reborn back to the day the school beauty shoplifted, I have to stall for time and sternly criticize and lecture her. Looking at the school beauty in the corner, her eyes red with humiliation, I continued to question her. Are you sure this is all you have? With your uniform bulging like that, are you hiding something else? Jiu Qingluo immediately covered her chest with her hands. Her beautiful eyes stared at me, angrily denying it. I am not. I casually raised my hand, not wanting an explanation. I stepped back to create some distance. Unzip it yourself. Don't make me do it. Or, do you want to wait until tomorrow for this to become the talk of the school? I shook my head with an exaggerated expression. Hearing this, Gu Qingluo immediately panicked. Please don't tell anyone. She reached for the zipper at her collar and slowly pulled it down. Her slender, fair neck was revealed. I could see that from being washed too many times. The collar of her t-shirt was wrinkled, and half of her delicate collarbone was visible beneath it. But right after that, as the zipper went down, her full, round chest was finally revealed. Gu Qingluo's eyes were red. She spoke with a look of humiliation. Have you seen enough? I am not hiding anything. I moved closer to observe. Smelling the faint scent of body wash mixed with laundry detergent, I questioned her again. Isn't there still another layer of clothing? Gu Qingluo lightly bit her pink lips, her voice sounding as if it was forced from between her teeth. Just this one. Hearing that, I nodded, not making any more unreasonable demands. It's just that, I leaned my head forward, lifting her collar. You're not hiding anything in your sleeves, are you? Jiu Qingluo shook her head, aggrieved. There's nothing. Really, there's nothing else. I turned my head to look at her. Our gazes were much closer than before. Gu Qingluo's cheeks were rarely flushed with a faint pink. She quickly looked away. So this is how she looks when she's embarrassed. At school, I had never seen this. Ice Queens show any extra emotion. I felt a little surprised. Right after, I sneered and said, just because you say there's nothing doesn't mean there's nothing. I have to see for myself. As I spoke, I leaned my head closer to her left armpit. Jiu Qingluo angrily turned her face away. Besides the faint scent of body wash and detergent, I also caught a whiff of a young woman's distinctive, subtle body scent. It was very nice, much nicer than the scent of money-fed cosmetics. I smiled slightly, pretending to check her other sleeve. Gu Qingluo, both embarrassed and angry, turned her head the other way. At this moment, I discovered a noteworthy point, a detail that my younger self would have never noticed. If a girl were searched by someone of the opposite sex at such a close distance, our gaze should be filled with disgust and coldness. But Gu Qingluo only seemed embarrassed and angry. In that moment, I suddenly understood. Gu Qingluo didn't hate me at all. She might even have a certain degree of affection for me. This also explained why in the past life, Gu Qingluo cast the only vote for me to become the P committee member. But in my memory, I couldn't recall any connection between us. We had obviously never spoken a single word to each other. We never even looked at each other in class. Could it be that my younger self was too naive to notice? Thinking back on my youth gave me a headache. Back then, my heart only had room for Lin Mengyao, and I pursued her timidly. A single hot and cold action from her could keep me tossing and turning all night, unable to sleep. Thinking about it now, I was so stupid back then. Thinking of this, I silently took 2 steps back, my gaze shifting downward. You're not hiding anything in your pants, are you? Hearing this, Gu Qingluo immediately complied, turning both of her pants pockets inside out to prove it to me. But I didn't even look. I just quietly glanced at the time. Only a few minutes had passed. The car that caused the accident probably hasn't even reached the intersection yet. I could only continue to find excuses. What does turning out your pockets prove? Let me check. After saying that, I squatted down, preparing to touch her legs, which were so long that even her uniform pants couldn't hide them. Gu Qingluo hurriedly backed away. This time, she was truly panicked, panting from nervousness. I had already expected this reaction from her, so I conceded and said, there are differences between men and women. It's really not very appropriate. How about this? You jump on the spot a few times. See if anything falls out. But Gu Qingluo didn't move. I continued to threaten her. Either I do it, or you jump on the spot a few times. Choose for yourself. Hearing this, Gu Qingluo took a deep breath and chose to obey. After all, stealing is wrong. She had no grounds to argue. Then, she gently raised her arms, as if gathering strength to jump on the spot. I intended to pretend to look at the ground to see if anything fell, but I forgot to turn off my auto-aim. My subconscious looked up instead. Both my eyes and my head bobbed up and down with her. Luckily, Gu Qingluo was focused on looking down and didn't notice my gaze. Gu Qingluo jumped again. I quickly stopped her. Okay, that's enough. I didn't lie to you. I only took 3 loaves of bread. I've already returned them to you. Can I go now? At this point, Gu Qingluo's questioning tone already had a hint of a sub in it. I really couldn't think of any more reasons to keep her. Seeing that I didn't respond, Gu Qingluo immediately walked to the table and put all the things that had spilled out back into her school bag. Seeing she was about to leave, I immediately called out, "Wait." Gu Qingluo turned, hugging her school bag tightly to her chest. Her large, glistening eyes looked at me warily. I couldn't help but ask, "Are you that hungry?" Hearing this question, Gu Qingluo lowered her head, saying nothing. I didn't say anything more about it either. I turned and tore open a bread package and handed it to her. "Eat this before you go." Gu Qingluo didn't raise her head for a long time, nor did she reach out her hand. She just stood there hugging her school bag as if she was being punished. Her frail body looked as if a gust of wind could knock it over. Her face was hidden by her hair. I couldn't see her expression, so I could only continue speaking. "I've already opened it. It can't be sold anymore. Hurry up and take it." Then I firmly pressed the bread into her hand. A few seconds later, Gu Qingluo put her school bag down and slowly brought the bread to her mouth, taking small bites. Then she started eating faster and faster. Seeing this, I smiled with satisfaction. But suddenly, 2 tears rolled down Gu Qingluo's cheeks. From the moment she was caught and searched, she had been strong and hadn't shed a single tear, until the moment she put the bread in her mouth. She finally couldn't hold it in anymore. Watching her quietly, I turned and opened another loaf of bread and placed it in her other hand. Then I felt my pockets and took out a piece of paper, only to find it was a used tissue. I disgustedly threw it on the ground. Damn it. My 17-year-old self didn't even carry tissues. A real man should always have tissues with him. I don't understand what happened to Gu Qingluo's family that could force an all-around top student to steal bread from a supermarket to eat. After finishing the second one, Gu Qingluo looked at the third loaf of bread. Without waiting for me to turn, she immediately went over, tore it open, and started eating. While eating, she opened her school bag and took out a pen and paper. She scribbled a few lines on the paper. After she finished writing, she had also finished the bread. Gu Qingluo quickly wiped her tears with her sleeve, and with a serious expression, handed me the paper with both hands. On the paper, it said, July 30, 2012. Gu Qingluo owes Su Chen 3 loaves of bread. I took the paper and stared at it blankly. My eyes quickly locked onto the 2 characters for Su Chen. For a long moment, I said nothing. The 2 characters were both sharp and elegant, and the ballot paper from my memory had the exact same handwriting. In this moment, I finally understood. The person who had secretly supported me to be the P committee member last semester was Gu Qingluo, not Lin Mengyao. At the time, I thought it was that green tea bitch. Later on, I even deliberately brought it up once. Lin Mengyao neither said it was her, nor did she say it wasn't. She was deliberately ambiguous. I even thought she was being shy, which made me even more excited. I pursued her even more resolutely, and Lin Mengyao had always enjoyed being pursued by her admirers. It just so happened that my family owned a supermarket, so I allowed that green tea bitch to take things from my family for free many times. Thankfully, I can start this life over. I looked at Gu Qingluo and deliberately tossed the IOU aside. You think writing an IOU will end what happened today? Gu Qingluo quietly picked up the IOU that had fallen on the ground. Her voice was low, already prepared for the worst. How do you want to handle this? Just kidding. I waved my hand as I spoke and immediately opened the warehouse door. I turned my head and said, follow me for now. I tore your school bag just now. I'll replace it for you. Gu Qingluo stood there, stunned, repeatedly shaking her head. No, there's no need. The torn part can be patched. I'll decide what happens today. I don't like being indebted to others. With that said, I led Gu Qingluo to the school bag section. Gu Qingluo's gaze immediately landed on a pink school bag. Her gaze was very intent. I also found this pink bag strangely familiar. Looking beside it was a blue bag. Only then did I remember my own school bag from high school. It was that blue style. The blue and pink were a matching pair, but Gu Qingluo's gaze only glanced at the pink bag for a moment, before quickly looking away. Seeing this, I took it directly and pushed it into her arms. This is for you. Gu Qingluo was a bit surprised that I had grabbed this one. She was stunned for a moment, and quickly said, I don't need it. My school bag was already broken anyway. She stubbornly put the school bag back. If you want what happened today to be spread around school, then go ahead and put it back. Gu Qingluo's hands paused, and she silently took the bag down again. Then she took out the IOU from earlier, and added 1 school bag to the paper. She offered the IOU again, very formally holding it up with both hands for me to see. Then she turned her head to glance at the bag's price. Suddenly, her eyes froze. Her expression became a bit bitter. It seemed she couldn't afford to pay it back. When I saw the subtle change in her expression, I couldn't help but smile. Of course, I never intended to make her pay. You've already written an IOU, so just keep following me. Gu Qingluo dejectedly lowered her head and quietly followed behind me. I went to the stationery section and stopped. I placed a pink pencil case in her arms. Gu Qingluo turned her head to look at the price, then firmly refused. I don't need it. Hearing her refuse again, I resorted to my ultimate move. If you don't want what happened today, but I don't have that much money to pay you back. Gu Qingluo, both embarrassed and angry, interrupted me. She even instinctively stomped her foot. I crossed my arms and raised an eyebrow, saying, I don't intend for you to pay me back either. Or you could think of another way to repay me. Another way? Gu Qingluo tilted her head slightly. I don't know what she was thinking, but her expression suddenly became strange, seeing me smiling at her. She quickly averted her gaze, but her flushed cheeks betrayed her. After that, I led Gu Qingluo on a stroll through the supermarket. I had imagined this scene for over 10 years. I had thought about it many times. If I had kept Gu Qingluo that day, I could have let her eat and drink whatever she wanted in the supermarket. Although my old man at home might have strung me up and beaten me, I never expected to get my wish today. I happily hummed a tune. Gu Qingluo didn't understand why I was so happy, but she didn't seem sad anymore either. But when we arrived at a certain section, Gu Qingluo froze and immediately turned to leave in embarrassment. Stop. I immediately called her back and said sternly, if you don't want what happened today to be spread around school, let me tell you, I am a problem student. You should know that a problem student is capable of anything. As soon as I said this, Gu Qingluo slowly turned back around. Her beautiful face flushed as she spoke. I don't need sanitary pads. Oh, really? I counted on my fingers. One in your bag, one you're wearing. That leaves only two. Gu Qingluo was so angry she clenched her small fists, but she seemed unable to say anything. I found her a little cute, and also a little funny. I took a pack of sanitary pads from the shelf and tossed it towards her. Catch. Gu Qingluo quickly jumped up slightly and raised her hands to catch it. Next, Gu Qingluo took out the IOU again and added the new item to her debt while my back was turned. She secretly brought the sanitary pads to her nose and sniffed them. There was a hint of surprise and wonder in her eyes. So these ones really are scented. The ones she used before were all sold loose. They weren't scented. Sometimes she could even see the carcasses of small insects inside, which needed to be picked out one by one. Just then, I turned around. Startled, Gu Qingluo quickly threw the item into her school bag. Her delicate face returned to its cold expression. Is someone knocking on the door? I perked up my ears and asked hesitantly. Gu Qingluo took a few steps back and looked towards the supermarket's main entrance. Sure enough, she saw a figure looming outside. I led her to the main entrance of the supermarket and looked at her seriously, instructing, be careful on your way, watch out for traffic, get home safe, go to school tomorrow as usual. As long as you listen to me, we can pretend today never happened. Got it? Gu Qingluo didn't understand why I was saying these things, but she still obediently nodded in agreement. Then she formally handed me the IU with both hands. She always liked to hand things over with two hands. I found that gesture very endearing. For a moment, I forgot to reach out. So Gu Qingluo, with a serious expression, tucked the IOU into my pocket. This IOU will always be valid. I nodded and replied, okay. Just then, Lin Mengyao, along with two of her close friends, walked towards the supermarket. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Hey, since the people involved in the incident of the misunderstood P committee member vote are here, then this matter should end today. I called Gu Qingluo back. Student Gao, wait a moment, don't go just yet. I just wanted Gu Qingluo to stay, to watch the good show that's about to start, because this girl, until the day she died, never knew that her small act of kindness back then was just paving the way for someone else. Speaking of which, it really is a memory that makes one angry. Back then, I was just like all the other pursuers in class, secretly in love with Lin Mengyao. After finding out she had cast the only vote for me, I became even more infatuated. But faced with my enthusiasm, Lin Mengyao, just like with the voting incident, adopted an attitude of neither confirming nor denying towards our relationship. She neither confirmed nor denied it. She accepted all the gifts, but kept her distance when we were together, saying that in the period before graduation, it was an observation period, telling me to perform well. So I understood. My dad would stock the supermarket on one end, and I would deliver the goods to Lin Mengyao on the other. My pathetic pursuer act even made my middle school sister look down on me. But after getting into college, I found out Lin Mengyao had been dating a senior for a year. After learning this news, my heart turned to ashes, so I began to strive for success, started my own business, caught the wave of online sales, and finally, in my 30s, had a net worth of over 100 million. At that time, Lin Mengyao was abandoned by her ex-husband, raising a child alone. And although I no longer had any lingering feelings for her, for the sake of old times, I helped her out quite a bit. It's only now that I realize how many years and how many absurd things I've done for this woman. Now that I know the person who actually cast the vote was Gu Qingluo, I am truly furious. This is great. Life has been reset. At this moment, Gu Qingluo was quiet and obediently waiting by the door. After Lin Mengyao appeared, she returned to her usual demeanor at school, cold and distant, giving off a stranger's stay-away vibe. At that moment, Lin Mengyao's voice cut through my thoughts. Su Chen, not bad. You're actually talking to Gu Qingluo. So, who do you think is prettier? Gu Qingluo or me? Lin Mengyao leaned her hands on the cashier counter. Her sarcastic words carried a hint of sourness. I sat at the cashier's position and spoke calmly. She's here to buy something. Classmate Lin, do you want to buy anything today? Lin Mengyao felt that today, I gave her a strange feeling, but it was just a feeling. She thought that because there were many girls here today, I was just trying to act tough. The girl next to her covered her mouth, utterly astonished. Mengyao, Does your classmate's family really own a supermarket? This supermarket is so big. Lin Menjiao was a little smug and waved her hand magnanimously. That's right. Feel free to look around. Take whatever you like. It's on me today. The two girls both showed looks of admiration. Without any hesitation, they started picking things out in the supermarket. Before long, those two girls happily came over with a pile of snacks. Then they placed everything on the cashier counter. They really came here to treat it like a buffet. And Lin Menjiao, as usual, took a few bottles of soda and the snacks she liked. She stood on her tiptoes, peeking her head over to look at me, and said in a sweet voice, "Su Chen, get us 2 big bags." All right, I agreed without hesitation, and started scanning the items one by one. Lin Menjiao was suddenly stunned and couldn't help but speak. "To you, what are you doing?" I replied seriously. "Scanning the prices. Aren't you guys here to buy things?" Hearing this, the two girls behind Lin Menjiao quietly looked at each other, with surprised expressions, whispering softly, "Didn't Menjiao say we don't have to pay?" Hearing her best friends whispering, Lin Menjiao lost some face. She frowned and said angrily, "Su Chen, why are you being so stingy today? It's just a few snacks. It's not expensive." Hearing that, I couldn't help but laugh. "That's right, it's not expensive. You said you were treating. Don't tell me you can't afford it." This sentence left Lin Menjiao speechless. Gu Qingluo, standing beside them, blinked, watching this scene with great surprise. Actually, in class, my blind pursuit of her, she had always secretly witnessed it all. Therefore, Lin Menjiao slammed her hand on the counter in anger. "Su Chen, don't tell me you're being serious. I am really getting angry now. Look at you, getting angry again. So what if you're angry? Are you going to rob me in broad daylight?" Lin Menjiao's expression froze. Suddenly, she thought of a possibility and asked probingly, You didn't see yesterday, me and class president Lu Haoyu strolling in the shopping mall, did you? Su Chen, why are you so petty? The class president and I just happened to run into each other." Hearing that, I put on an indifferent expression. "Sorry, I was at home sleeping all day yesterday. I didn't go to the shopping mall." Lin Menjiao was so angry her face turned red. "Then what's wrong with you today?" "I am perfectly normal. Isn't paying for what you buy a very normal thing to do?" After saying that, I turned to look at Gu Qingluo beside me. "Classmate Gu, am I right?" Hearing this, Gu Qingluo turned her head to the side, completely ignoring me. Lin Menjiao's two friends couldn't stand it anymore and started to persuade her. "How about we just forget it, Menjiao? We don't want to eat that much anyway." "That's right, Menjiao. It's not worth getting angry over this." Lin Menjiao refused to back down and immediately played her trump card. "Su Chen, let me tell you, the class president confessed his feelings to me yesterday." After saying that, she even snorted lightly and lifted her fair chin to add, "That's right, it was at the shopping mall yesterday." Hearing these words, I smiled even more happily. "Let me guess, you didn't agree, but you didn't refuse either, telling the class president that studying is more important, and you'll think about it after graduation." Exposed so mercilessly, Lin Menjiao was rendered speechless on the spot. Her face flushed. Her defenses crumbled as she spoke. "Su Chen, what do you mean by that?" I waved my hand. "I don't mean anything. Are you buying or not? If not, put it back where you found it." Seeing her two friends about to go take the items, Lin Menjiao immediately stopped them. "Wait a minute. You two. Today's issue isn't about whether to pay or not, it's about his attitude. Su Chen, is this how you like me? Is this how you're going to act in front of me? Do you believe it or not? Tomorrow I'll go accept the class president's confession." I started clapping directly, laughing and singing. "Happy confession, I wish you happiness. You found someone better." Seeing this scene, Gu Qingluo couldn't help but want to laugh. But after noticing me looking at her, Gu Qingluo quickly turned her head away again. There was a flicker of panic in her eyes. At this moment, Lin Menjiao stomped her foot angrily and said, "You were definitely at the shopping mall yesterday. Su Chen, you will regret this." After saying that, Lin Menjiao pulled her two friends, intending to leave the supermarket. "Stop," I quickly called them back. Lin Menjiao smirked and turned around. "What's wrong? Regretting it so soon?" I slammed my hand hard on the counter, making the three girls jump. "Regret my ass. Put the things you took back where you found them." Lin Menjiao's mouth fell slightly open. She stood rooted to the spot, her hands trembling. The rims of her eyes turned red unconsciously. You. Lin Menjiao's two friends had long heard about my bad reputation at school, so they hurried over and put all the goods back in their original places. After doing this, they quickly went to Lin Menjiao's side. "Let's go. Menjiao, go. Lin Menjiao was dragged out of the supermarket by the two of them. Before she left, her eyes were brimming with tears, and she gave me a look full of grievance and anger. After doing all this, I just felt refreshed. Gu Qingluo probably didn't feel anything, but I still wanted to perform this scene for her. At this moment, Gu Qingluo turned back, holding her school bag. "What did you want to say to me?" I didn't say anything. I walked out from behind the cashier counter, and then walked in front of her. I took out a pink hair clip from my hand and gently clipped it onto a loose strand of her hair. Gu Qingluo dazedly raised her head to look at me. Looking at the smile I gave her, she even forgot to refuse. It took her a moment to react, and she quickly took off the hair clip and handed it to me. "I don't need it. This is a thank you gift." I pushed her small, soft hand back. I explained, During the election for P committee member last year, thank you for voting for me. Gu Qingluo's expression was very surprised. Her snow-white fingers clutched the pink hair clip tightly. The gaze in her beautiful eyes had begun to avoid mine. A few seconds later, Gu Qingluo immediately shoved the hair clip back into my hand, then turned and left as if she were fleeing. I held the hair clip and chased after her for a few steps. Walk slowly on the road, just walk. If you dare run on the street, I'll report you at school tomorrow. Gu Qingluo didn't turn back, but she still obediently slowed down, switching from a run to a walk. He figured it out, regardless of how reliable it is, as long as the shoplifting is reported. As soon as this threat is uttered, it absolutely works on her. Next time, I can use this to threaten her and play some exciting games with her. Thinking of this, I silently slapped myself. Looking at the hair clip in my hand, I spoke with confusion. If you voted for me, you voted for me. What's there not to admit? Is voting for me such a shameful thing? Or is she just shy? After muttering to myself, I put the hair clip in my pocket. I'll wait for school to start tomorrow and find a chance to give her this small thank you gift. I hope to see her appear smoothly in class. On the first day of 12th grade, I woke up late in the morning. I bought breakfast for 2 and immediately rode my bike to school. Rushing to the classroom door, I was out of breath. My first glance wasn't towards the homeroom teacher, nor towards Lin Menjiao, but towards Gu Qingluo. Right now, she was moving desks with other classmates. Hearing the commotion at the door, she looked over along with the other students. But very quickly, Gu Qingluo's earlobes turned red, and she turned her head away. Woohoo! I am so happy. She successfully appeared in the classroom. I was so excited I couldn't contain myself. I ignored Lin Menjiao on the other side, who was looking at me with resentment. Bang, bang, bang. At that moment, a loud noise suddenly came from the podium. I jumped in surprise and quickly looked over. I saw the homeroom teacher scolding me. Su Chen, do you really think you're the main character? Late on the first day of school. Let's assign seats first. After that's done, I'll deal with you. Hearing that, I shrugged indifferently and went out into the hallway with the 50+ students in the class. At the beginning of every semester, the first thing is to assign seats based on the previous final exam results. The top students sit in the front, the poor students sit in the back. If nothing unexpected happens, I'll have to sit in the last corner of the classroom again. At this very moment, I suddenly noticed that Gu Qingluo's expression was a little unnatural. Her small hands were tightly gripping her clothes. I suddenly remembered, last semester, I wasn't the one ranked last. The person ranked last was Gu Qingluo. This top student rarely got a score of 0. As for why she got a 0, the reason is very simple. She didn't take the final exam. I couldn't help but chuckle. Suddenly, I heard the academic committee member, Lu Jinian, speak in a gloomy voice. Su Chen, you must be happy now. This time, Gu Qingluo has to sit in the corner with you. Lu Jinian is considered my childhood friend, but we are rivals, who look down on each other. What's it to you? I lowered my head and retorted angrily at Lu Jinian. This guy pouted. He wasn't jealous of me, because he's interested in Gu Qingluo. At this time, the homeroom teacher spoke with some heartache. Qingluo, if you can't see from the back, just let me know. I'll move you to the front. Damn it, such a two-faced bastard. I was immediately unconvinced. Teacher, I don't agree. The homeroom teacher immediately glared. You don't agree? Su Chen, who do you think you are? Gu Qingluo had a family matter last semester. That's why she didn't take the final exam. If she had taken it, she would definitely be first in the grade. I am warning you, don't disturb Gu Qingluo's studies during class. If I find out, I'll make you stand on the stadium bleachers as punishment. Gu Qingluo quickly raised her head and said in her clear, cold voice, Teacher, that's not necessary. I'll just retake it during the monthly exam. Hearing that, the homeroom teacher's expression changed, and he smiled. Okay, as long as you're not discouraged. Qingluo, if Su Chen bullies you, just tell me. Gu Qingluo nodded and softly acknowledged. I said shamelessly, what counts as bullying? After saying that, I reached out and poked Gu Qingluo's soft arm. I asked probingly, does this count as bullying? Gu Qingluo's earlobe on the same side turned red, and she shrank to the side. And the homeroom teacher was also red-faced with anger, immediately grabbing his pointer stick, about to rush over. To protect his favorite student, I pouted and smiled, and easily dodged it. I leisurely strolled into the classroom. Gu Qingluo followed behind with her head down. Under everyone's gaze, her other earlobe also turned red. Strange, after one holiday, how did this Su Chen guy's face get so much thicker? The homeroom teacher muttered curiously to himself. Arriving at the seat by the window in the back of the class, Gu Qingluo suddenly frowned and sniffed. Seeing this, I asked, smell the stinky feet yet? After saying that, I spread my arms wide and laughed heartily. Gu Qingluo, welcome to the back row, the world of the underachievers, the domain of the gods. Seeing Gu Qingluo's blank look, I pointed while explaining. Do you know those twin brothers are named Wu Buning and Wu Buxing? People call them the biochemical brothers. If they take off their shoes, this entire number 2 high school will explode. Their title is the Biochemical Gods. I told the story with great interest, making Gu Qingluo purse her lips to hold back a smile. This smile surprised me. She can actually smile. Gu Qingluo quickly suppressed her smile, her eyes a little panicked as she lowered her head taking out her pencil case and books from her bag. Her face gradually returned to its cold expression. I saw her new school bag and pencil case, and I was very happy inside. I continued to speak. Look over there. Gu Qingluo raised her head and obediently looked in the direction I pointed. I started introducing her. The person to the right of the twins is Yang Wei. From morning to night, whenever the class bell rings, he immediately slumps down to sleep. Even a slap won't wake him up. He drools enough to draw a map on the desk, but calling him to eat will definitely wake him. Can you guess what kind of god he is? Gu Qinglu didn't want to answer, but she still replied in a low voice. The sleep god. I nodded with satisfaction. That's right. Gu Qingluo's eyebrows arched slightly for a moment, as if she was happy to be on the same wavelength as me. I continued my introduction. To the right of Yang Wei is our academic committee member, Lu Jinian. He's far-sighted, so he asked the teacher to let him sit in the back row. People call him the spear god. Wait, a moment. I hadn't even explained yet. Gu Qingluo had already looked over. Her beautiful eyes silently looked at me. What's a spear god? I smiled strangely and said, no, I can't tell you the details of this one. I stared at the beautiful girl in front of me and said, study god. I now officially welcome you to the back row. So, guess what kind of god I am? I don't want to guess. After speaking, Gu Qingluo expressionlessly opened her textbook, her face set on ignoring me completely. I hurried her. Guess quickly. Gu Qingluo's lips pursed slightly, still ignoring me. Her face was already turned in another direction, as if she were engrossed in her book. I rested my head on my hand and spoke in a gloomy voice. If you don't guess, I'll reveal your secret. 3, 2. Gu Qinglu immediately turned her head back, breathing softly, looking at me with both embarrassment and anger. She obediently asked, what god? Her clear, cold voice carried a hint of grievance from being forced. I said with a mischievous smile, the god of love. Gu Qingluo frowned. Boring. She let out an angry huff and turned back to her book. I smiled, resting my head on one hand, and shamelessly turned to observe Gu Qingluo. I don't know why, but after saving this girl, it feels like I gave birth to her. I look at her, as if I am looking at a daughter I've raised with great difficulty. I can't help but want to tease her a little, to see the subtle changes in her expression. After a while, Gu Qingluo really couldn't take it anymore. She turned to look at me, both embarrassed and angry. What are you looking at? Nothing. I was just thinking about why your mouth is so small. Boring. Gu Qingluo forcefully pressed her small lips together, trying not to let me see. She turned her head away again. As for me, I retracted my gaze and took a bag of hot meat buns from my bag and handed it over. I said in a commanding tone, finish them during the break. No need. Gu Qingluo replied coldly. I glared. You dare to say no need? Do you believe that? Gu Qingluo immediately and obediently took the buns. Her beautiful eyes shot me an angry glare. Only then did I offer a word of praise. Hey, that's more like it. It's good to be obedient. The homeroom teacher slammed his hand on the podium and spoke pointedly. You're all in 12th grade now. I hope you all know what your goal is. Is it to continue coasting through life, or to take a risk and turn your bicycle into a motorcycle? If you still refuse to, study properly this year, like someone who doesn't do their homework, chatting in class, with grades at the bottom, and even affecting other students. Just wait to suffer in the future. As soon as these words were said, I leaned back. The corner of my mouth lifted slightly. In my past life, I already experienced what it's like to have assets worth over 100 million. Although I still have to make money in this new life, I don't plan on working myself to death like that again. This life, I want to see what going to college is actually like. However, with my current grades, getting into college is a bit difficult. But with the study, God Gu Qingluo by my side, I feel inexplicably confident. Sometimes I am really curious about this Lu Jinian guy. He often plays games, yet he still manages to be second in the entire grade. It's true that comparisons are odious. I let out a sigh and slapped my thigh. Gu Qinglu jumped in surprise and quickly closed her long legs, pulling them in a little. Seeing this, I immediately apologized. My bad. I slapped the wrong one. The first period is English class. Everyone, get your books ready, the homeroom teacher ordered. He is the literature teacher. After lecturing for another sentence or two, he glanced worriedly towards the corner by the window, then raised his hand and pointed at me. His gaze was fierce, silently threatening me. Only then did he leave the classroom. Meanwhile, the English teacher, holding her lesson plan and textbook, had been waiting at the door for a while. After Su Xiao, Man smiled and nodded as a signal. She stepped into the classroom. Her long, slender legs and black stockings appeared before everyone's eyes. The whole class looked at the young and beautiful English teacher and cheered together. The class bell rang. A thud came from my right. Yang Weiss, head slumped onto the desk. He fell asleep instantly. His snoring was deep and steady. I also took out my English textbook. Looking at the clean portrait on the first page, my hand suddenly itched. I wanted to draw on this portrait. Dark circles under the eyes and a mustache. But I tried hard to hold my right hand back, like the technique of ambidexterity, to stop my bad student behavior. Don't draw. I have to study hard this time. Damn muscle memory. Gu Qingluo turned her head and sized me up strangely. She didn't say anything, because the boys in class are sometimes very childish. For example, me. She often saw me walking, suddenly convulse and jump on the spot, making a basketball shooting motion. Every time that happened, Gu Qingluo would stop and look at me blankly. To avoid me noticing her gaze, she would immediately lower her head and walk past me. From then on, she found me very strange. No matter if there was a scrap of paper or an empty bottle nearby, I had to pick it up and throw a perfect parabolic arc towards the trash can. Once, I spent the entire break throwing, but still couldn't get it in. I was about to go crazy. Gu Qingluo, sitting in class, turned her head. Her beautiful eyes stared blankly, watching me busy in the hallway. She watched intently for the entire break. Now, seeing me still holding my right arm, the desk was also shaking. Gu Qingluo couldn't take it anymore and asked, puzzled, "What are you doing?" My expression was serious. "There is a demon in my right hand. It's about to break the seal now." Classmate Gu Qingluo, "Can you help me hold it back?" There was no response. I turned my head and found that the light had faded from Gu Qingluo's eyes. She was looking at me as if I were an idiot. I said casually, "Seriously? Can't you have a little childlike innocence?" Childish. After Gu Qingluo cursed silently, she turned her head away, and at the same time, drew the dividing line on the desk into a great canyon. I wanted to talk to her more, when I suddenly heard the English teacher, Su Xiaoman, call my name. "Su Chen, stand up. Read the first paragraph for the class, so I can check how you've prepared." I was a bit dazed, but stood up after a moment, flipped open my clean textbook, and read the first paragraph very naturally. When the first word came out of my mouth, Su Xiaoman's expression changed instantly. She looked up from her book in surprise. The whole class turned around in unison, revealing expressions of disbelief. Gu Qingluo was also very surprised. Her beautiful eyes stared at me, stunned. His pronunciation is so standard, and it's even a British accent. What on earth happened to this guy? Very quickly, I finished reading the first paragraph fluently. Su Xiaoman smiled with satisfaction, but at the same time, she was very surprised. "Su Chen, what did you do during the last break? Did you go abroad? That can't be why your English is so standard. Can it?" I said seriously. "Of course. I studied hard. I am someone who wants to get into college." Hearing this sentence, and Gu Qingluo's eyes beside me, there was a flash of surprise and joy. Lu Jin Nian in the corner of the classroom suddenly burst out laughing. "Studied hard? Which wall are you trying to fix with mud?" Gu Qingluo silently glared at Lu Jin Nian, but Lu Jin Nian's words made the whole class burst out laughing. Only Lin Mengyao didn't laugh, because she didn't want me to put effort into other areas. At this moment, Su Xiao Man walked towards me and patted my shoulder. "For you to have this thought, I am very happy. Su Chen, I have high hopes for you. You may sit down." I smugly turned to look at Gu Qingluo and raised my eyebrows. Gu Qingluo averted her gaze. Her face was cold. She didn't respond. "My spoken English is so good. Actually, it's because in my previous life, my business expanded overseas. I stayed there for 5 years. I was forced to communicate verbally every day. It'd be strange if I wasn't assimilated. Then again, this act of showing off felt so good." I sat down, laughed, and slapped my thigh. Gu Qingluo once again fearfully pulled her legs back. She couldn't hold it in anymore and raised her small fist. Her beautiful eyes were filled with anger. "If you slap my leg again, I'll tell the homeroom teacher." Hearing that, I quickly explained, "I really slapped the wrong one. I meant to slap my own thigh." But Gu Qingluo ignored me. Again, pouting her lips. She looked really cute. I patted her arm and said, "I'll teach you spoken English from now on, and you can help me with the other subjects. How about it?" Gu Qingluo turned her head, about to reply. Suddenly, her expression stiffened. She quickly averted her gaze back to her desk. "What's wrong?" I turned my head to look, only to see a face outside the front window, quietly looking over. Its gaze was focused right on me. The homeroom teacher appeared there like a ghost. It made my shoulders jump. I also subconsciously sat up straight. After living for so many years, I still couldn't escape the bloodline suppression of this moment. After the homeroom teacher left, I found a small piece of paper in my line of sight, slowly appearing. Gu Qingluo's sharp and elegant handwriting wrote the word "okay." She actually agreed. I was very happy. Who knows? If I work a little harder this year, I might actually get into a good university. I looked at the textbook seriously and sat up straight, starting to try to listen to the lecture. A few minutes later, I was struggling to stay awake, slumping over my desk. At the back desks, my snores and yang wais echoed each other. Just then, the curtain was blown by a gentle breeze. A dazzling light shone on my sleeping face. I frowned and raised a hand to scratch my cheek. The next second, a slender hand rose and pulled the curtain shut. Seeing that the shade had completely covered the sunlight on my face, only then did Gu Qingluo lower her head in relief and continue to take notes seriously in her textbook. "Everyone, do the multiple choice questions in the back. We'll go over them in 5 minutes." Not long after, Su Xiaoman's voice suddenly got a little closer. Gu Qingluo looked up and saw the English teacher holding her textbook, slowly walking down the aisle. She occasionally turned her head to check on the students on both sides. Seeing that the teacher was about to reach my desk, Gu Qingluo nervously glanced over and quickly tapped my arm. I quickly sat up, shaking my leg, twirling a pen in my hand, pretending to stare at the textbook. Gu Qingluo thoughtfully reached her small hand over and helped me turn a page, turning to the end of chapter exercises. Just then, the teacher arrived. She glanced over lightly and then walked away. Ju Qing Luo breathed a sigh of relief, and I immediately slumped my head down again to continue sleeping. Gu Qing Luo heard on the other side the sound of Su Xiaoman slapping Yang Wei's face with a book. Then she looked at the mark on the side of my face and couldn't help but smile. She was very happy. Before, she could only watch from afar, seeing me get scolded for sleeping in class, wanting to reach out and remind me, but unable to reach. But today, she had reminded me once and helped me successfully escape the teacher's notice. The feeling of satisfaction and achievement that Gu Qing Luo felt was strangely intense. She turned back to continue her work. A gentle breeze from the window blew into the classroom, blowing a strand of the girl's hair, covering half of her delicate face, also obscuring her vision. At that moment, I placed a pink hairpin on her desk. Gu Qing Luo looked up. Her gaze froze. She looked towards me, but I had changed my sleeping position, turning my face to the other side. Gu Qing Luo pursed her lips, and her gaze fell on the hairpin again. This hairpin was very pretty, incredibly delicate and small. Gu Qing Luo had never owned such a beautiful hairpin. After a moment of internal struggle, she reached out and picked it up, swept up the mischievous strand of her hair, and then clipped it in place with the hairpin. She couldn't see how she looked right now, so she turned to stare at her reflection in the window. After tucking her hair back, more of her delicate face was revealed. The superior contours of her oval face also became clearer, but there was no joy on Gu Qing Luo's face. She raised her hand and took the hairpin off, gently wrapped it in a piece of paper, and put it away in a small compartment of her school bag. Very quickly, the bell for the end of class finally rang. A whole group of students in the class immediately slumped over. I stretched and turned to look at Gu Qing Luo. I didn't see the hairpin on her head. It wasn't on her desk either, which meant she had put it away. I reached out and tapped her desk, reminding her to eat. Gu Qing Luo took out the still warm steamed bun and handed it over with both hands. Shaking her head, she said, I am not hungry. She really likes to hand things over with both hands, and I really like watching her do it. It feels a bit contrasting. Then tell me, did you eat this morning? Gu Qing Luo explained in a cold voice. I don't eat in the morning. Hearing that, I said impatiently, I already told you. Hurry up and eat. Don't make me angry. Gu Qing Luo glanced at me and could only lower her head to open the plastic bag, bringing the bun to her mouth through the bag. She ate in small bites. After reaching the meat filling, her eyes lit up. The next bite was much bigger. She finished one in just a few bites, seemingly feeling that her eating posture might have become unsightly. Gu Qing Luo looked up and glanced at me shyly. The tips of her ears gradually turned red. She turned away, no longer facing me, and I watched this scene with a satisfied expression. If this isn't raising a daughter, what is? After finishing the second one, there were still 2 buns left in the plastic bag. Gu Qing Luo glanced at them, hesitated for 2 seconds, and quietly tied the plastic bag shut, carefully explaining to me, I am full. Save the rest for lunch. I slammed the table, making Gu Qing Luo's arms tremble. My voice was stern as I said, I told you to eat, so eat. Don't talk nonsense with me. Gu Qing Luo gave me a cold, resentful look. At this moment, she seemed to want to resist my tyranny. Seeing this, I moved closer and pointed at her. You still dare to glare at me? Go on. Glare again. Do you believe that? Gu Qing Luo's eyelashes trembled slightly. Her aggrieved eyes also withdrew their glare. Her expression was pitiful. She quickly opened the plastic bag and obediently brought the 3rd bun to her mouth, but her eating speed slowed down a lot, as if she was a little reluctant to finish it right away. Actually, I knew very well in my heart, with her, you have to be tough when needed. Gu Qing Luo clearly has a strong personality. You can tell from the many times she's glared at me. When you want her to do something, gentle persuasion is useless. You have to confront her head on and see who is tougher. Of course, I will always be the winner. I'll use the secret of her stealing for a lifetime. This secret is really useful. At this moment, Lin Mengyao stood up from her seat and walked towards the corner of the classroom. Arriving here, Lin Mengyao couldn't help but cover her nose. The biochemical foot odor of those twins was too strong. Su Chen. She stomped her foot when she called me. Gu Qing Luo turned away with a cold expression, focusing on eating her bun, but she didn't forget to perk up her ears to listen. I turned around and saw that Lin Mengyao was a little impatient. What is it? You. Come out here. I have something to tell you. After saying that, Lin Mengyao turned and walked away. When she reached the door, she thought I would follow. When she realized no one was behind her, she angrily shouted at me, Su Chen, you're getting more and more out of line. Her voice attracted quite a few people in the class to turn and look. All the gossipy ears perked up. I looked impatiently at Lin Mengyao at the door. What about me? If you have something to say it here. I am too lazy to move. So Lin Mengyao walked back. She stood next to my desk. With so many people around, she couldn't speak loudly and could only say through gritted teeth, don't go too far. When I said ID, accept the class, president's confession, I was just trying to scare you. It was just a joke. I don't like him. Hearing these words, I couldn't help but laugh. So, you like me? Lin Mengyao's face turned red. She said hastily, I've already said, we're still young now. We can't be in a relationship. Let's talk about it after graduation. At this moment, Gu Qing Luo suddenly reminded them in a cold voice, the teacher is here. Lin Mengyao turned her head and sure enough, she saw the homeroom teacher walking into class with his textbook. The homeroom teacher always liked to come to class early during breaks and would drag things out after class. Lin Meng Yao angrily stomped her foot again and could only return to her seat. Time gradually approached noon. The students in the class either went home or went to the cafeteria. Lin Meng Yao couldn't find a chance to talk to me all morning. Now that she found an opportunity, she ran over again. Su Chen, come eat with me in the cafeteria. Sorry, I have to study. I sat still in my seat, not moving. Lin Meng Yao couldn't do anything about it and was finally dragged away by her lunch friend. Gradually, only Gu Qing Luo and I were left in the classroom. I, on the other hand, wanted to see the person next to me, the girl who always goes to the cafeteria so late. What does she actually eat, or does she not eat at all? Gu Qing Luo sat very quietly in her seat, seriously, doing the homework the teacher assigned this morning, seemingly unaware that only the two of us were left in the classroom. Since I said I would study hard, I couldn't just sit here and wait, so I took out my math homework and took out my pen grandly, preparing for battle. But the next second, the confident smile on my face suddenly froze. Wait a minute, what is a set? After a while, I looked up. My eyes stared blankly at the blackboard. I've forgotten everything. It's over. It's all over. At this moment, I realized other reincarnated people either reincarnate right after graduating high school or reincarnate to their kindergarten days. But I reincarnated into the final purgatory period of student life, the very beginning of 12th grade. If I still don't go to college after living 2 lives, that would be too much of a loss. No way. I must study hard this time. After all, there's still a year. Thinking of this, I immediately took out my textbook and started reading it word by word from the beginning. 5 minutes later, my steady snores echoed in the classroom. Gu Qing Luo turned her head to look and saw that I was sleeping soundly. I don't know what I was dreaming of. I raised my hand to scratch my nose, and then immediately smiled. Gu Qing Luo looked a bit dazed when she saw that my drool was about to drip onto the desk. She finally reacted. She quickly took out a tissue she had, folded it, and carefully brought it to the corner of my mouth. After placing the tissue, Gu Qing Luo's hand didn't hurry to pull back. Actually, she has a secret that no one knows, which is that she has known me since middle school. In Gu Qing Luo's mind, there are many memories of me, but she also knows that I don't remember anymore. Maybe I didn't pay any attention, but that's okay. She remembers. Thinking of this, Gu Qing Luo couldn't help but raise her snow-white finger and gently touch my nose. Seeing my snoring stop, she immediately quickly pulled her hand back and sat up straight, her heart pounding, waiting until my snoring started again. Gu Qing Luo finally breathed a sigh of relief. After sitting still for a moment, she quietly stood up, put on her school bag, and walked out of the classroom. This was her fixed lunchtime. Arriving at the cafeteria, the students had long finished their lunch. The cafeteria was empty. The cleaning ladies had already started cleaning up. Gu Qing Luo was a day student, but she never went home for lunch. The short-haired canteen lady saw Gu Qing Luo and said warmly, "It's you again, little girl. How many times have I told you to come a little earlier next time? You always come at this time. All the food is gone. Only the soup broth is left." Gu Qing Luo gave a forced smile. "It's okay. I am fine with just plain rice." Another lady next to her recognized Gu Qing Luo and reminded her, "She's the top student in the grade. Didn't you know? She's probably late because she was studying." The short-haired lady exclaimed, "Oh," and hurriedly looked at Gu Qing Luo with a warm gaze. "Look at you, as beautiful as a fairy, and your grades are so good. If my son were half as good as you, he'd be happy. Let me get you some more rice. I'll pour some meat gravy over it for you." After getting the rice, the short-haired lady said again, "I'll just charge you 5 jiao." Gu Qing Luo said softly, "Thank you." After swiping her meal card, Gu Qing Luo noticed she only had 5 yuan and 5 jiao left on her card. A meal for 5 jiao was a bit of a luxury for her, but if she didn't eat, she wouldn't have the energy to study. Then Gu Qing Luo took the bowl of plain rice, found a corner to sit in, and slowly ate every last grain. At the same time, I, back in the classroom, suddenly shivered and stretched, realizing I had been asleep for nearly half an hour. Noticing the girl next to me was gone, I immediately got up and headed to the cafeteria. It would be strange if there was any food left at this hour. I am also a day student, and usually, I'd go home to eat at this time, but my meal card has money on it all year round, so much that I can't spend it all. Arriving at the cafeteria, I rushed over and shouted, "Don't clean up! Don't clean up, there's still someone here." The short-haired lady was suspicious. "You've been studying until now too?" Something like that, I said shamelessly. In my dreams, I was indeed discussing academics with the teachers. "Young man, there's only plain rice left." I clutched my stomach, which was rumbling, and said with a click of my tongue, "Then just give me some rice." Suddenly, I realized, Auntie, before me, was there a very pretty girl who came to eat? The short-haired lady nodded. "That's right. That little girl always studies very late. Every time she comes, there's only plain rice left." I nodded thoughtfully. After getting my rice, I also swiped my card for 2 yuan and said in surprise, "So cheap." Then I found a place to sit down and shoveled rice into my mouth. It seems Gu Qing Luo only eats plain rice for lunch, and she doesn't want her classmates to know. Kids at this age have very high self-esteem. Gu Qing Luo is no exception. I know this very well, but I wonder where she went after lunch. Soon. It was 1 p.m. There were a few scattered students in the classroom. Gu Qing Luo walked into the refit classroom with her school bag. Her gaze fell on the upper corner of the blackboard, where the list of students on duty was usually written. Blackboard. Sue Turtle. Clearly, my name had been pranked by someone. Gu Qing Luo walked over and erased the two words, turtle, and rewrote the character Chen with chalk. Then, she expressionlessly tossed the chalk onto the teacher's desk. Just as she was walking down to her seat, a voice rang out from the doorway. Gu Qing Luo, I just realized your new school bag is a matching one with mine. Gu Qing Luo turned her head and saw Lin Meng Yao standing there. She gave Lin Meng Yao a cold look and ignored her, walking straight to her seat to put her bag down. Lin Meng Yao was snubbed, but didn't continue to provoke her. She just cursed weirdo in her heart. Who is she putting on that cold face for every day? Actually, Lin Meng Yao didn't dare to mess with Gu Qing Luo because there was a rumor circulating among the girls about Gu Qing Luo. It was said that when the classes were first divided, Gu Qing Luo was envied by her female classmates for her beauty, plus her very cold personality. So a few girls cornered her after school and deliberately tried to cut her hair with scissors, but they didn't expect Gu Qing Luo to be a lunatic. She directly snatched the scissors, and in front of those girls, cut her own long hair to ear length. Then she took the thick lock of hair she had just cut and threw it at those girls, questioning them with a fierce expression. Are you satisfied now? The girls saw her holding the scissors and were too scared to move, standing frozen on the spot. Gu Qing Luo then threw the scissors on the ground and walked away proudly. If that was all, this rumor wouldn't have been worth spreading so widely. This story has a sequel. From then on, that girl thought Gu Qing Luo was not to be trifled with, so she found some 11th grade seniors to teach her a lesson. As a result, when the 11th grade senior brought a group of people to block her in the hallway, a group of fierce-looking boys saw Gu Qing Luo's appearance and were all stunned on the spot. At that moment, they even forgot why they were there. Gu Qing Luo, holding her textbooks, walked forward with a cold face, while the boys awkwardly backed away. Not a single one dared to make a move. That day, even though Gu Qing Luo's short hair looked like it had been chewed by a dog, it still stunned these boys as if they had seen a celestial beauty. From then on, Gu Qing Luo was called the ice-cold school beauty. Girls didn't dare to mess with her, and boys didn't want to either. But I had never heard any of these stories, because since 10th grade, I was in the same class as Lin Meng Yao, all the way to 12th grade. My attention was always on Lin Meng Yao. At this moment, Lin Meng Yao angrily returned to her seat. 15 minutes later, the students had all arrived. I, who had run home for a nap, also appeared at the classroom door. Returning to my seat, I glanced over there, then looked away. Su Chen, the academic monitor, Lu Jinnian, saw me, arrogantly put his feet up on a chair, laughed, and looked back at the blackboard. Look at your name. Hearing this, I turned and pointed to the duty roster section, at the two words Su Chen on it, and raised my eyebrows blankly. What's up? You like your dad's name? Lu Jinnian was stunned. He walked over strangely, muttering to himself, that's weird. Who changed it? It was clearly Su Turtle. After hearing that, I became aggressive. What did you say? You're the one who changed my name, aren't you? You little brat. Didn't expect it. Did you? There are still plenty of good people in this world. Hearing the commotion, Gu Qing Luo couldn't help but look over again. Let go. You muscle-brained fool. Lu Jinnian's face flushed red. I let go and gave him a kick. Get back to your corner. Then I went back to my seat and couldn't help but frown, raising my hand to cover my nose. I turned my head to look, and sure enough, I found the twin brothers had taken off their shoes, their 4 chubby feet placed neatly on the crossbar under their desk. The very air around them seemed to be distorting. Dozong master. This is how terrifying it gets. As the manager of the back row, I walked over and tapped the 2 fatties on the head. Put your shoes on. Quickly. Can't you see our class top student has graced the back row with her presence? Can you maintain a bit of decorum for the back row? The 2 brothers rubbed their heads, saw Gu Qing Luo's gaze, and immediately blushed. Putting their shoes on with some embarrassment, Gu Qing Luo pursed her lips in embarrassment and looked away. I then went over to the soundly sleeping Yang Wei and knocked on his desk. Wake up. The bell hasn't even rung yet. You're sleeping too early. Can you not ruin our image? Yang Wei opened his eyes, waking up drowsily, glanced at me, then turned in another direction and went back to sleep. After managing the order in the back row, I returned to my seat, satisfied. I wanted to talk to Gu Qing Luo about her lunch situation, but considering the girl's pride, I gave up on bringing it up directly. Just then, the homeroom teacher and the class president, Lu Haoyu, walked in together. The homeroom teacher spoke first. By the way, before the English class starts, I'll tell you about this year's autumn sports festival. Same old rules. We need to choose a class uniform for the parade. Hearing they had to choose uniforms, the previously listless class immediately became lively. The homeroom teacher took out 2 photos. One was a school-style uniform. The other was a black suit. The homeroom teacher said, the class president has chosen 2 pretty standard uniform styles for us. Which set do you want to wear for the parade? Immediately after, all the boys in the class in perfect sync and excitedly shouted for the school uniform. While the girls fell silent in unison, their cheeks slightly flushed. Only a few girls, including Lin Meng Yao, showed some excitement. Girls at this age don't often wear short skirts, whether at home or at school. Everyone is relatively conservative. I looked to my side and found Gu Qingluo looking at her textbook as if it had nothing to do with her. I suddenly recalled the sports festival last semester in 11th grade. Gu Qingluo didn't participate in the parade because she was the only one in the class who didn't buy the uniform. I averted my gaze and said nothing, quietly looking ahead at the excited homeroom teacher and students. Actually, I also really wanted to see Gu Qingluo wear the beautiful school uniform. Her natural conditions are so superior. She would definitely look beautiful in it. Of course, I could pay for it for her. I even have enough money to buy dozens of sets. But I also know clearly that when trying to help a girl in a difficult situation, who also has high self-esteem, simply giving her money or clothes is the least reliable solution. So, I chose not to act, for the time being. At this point, the homeroom teacher waved his hand. All right, it's decided then. Well, choose the school uniform. In short, you have 1 week to submit the money and your size to the class president. Then the class president will buy them in bulk. Lu Haoyu clapped his hands and added, everyone remember, 1 set is 50 yuan. When Gu Qingluo heard the price, she looked up in surprise, then quietly lowered her head and continued reading. The boring afternoon classes ended. Since it was the first day of school, there was no evening self-study session. As soon as the 4th period in the afternoon ended, the students were free. On a day with no evening self-study, and having gym class for the last period was an unexpected joy for the students. After packing my school bag, I turned and said to Gu Qingluo, so, it's settled then. This Saturday, come to my house to help me study. Gu Qingluo was suddenly stunned. While packing her school bag, she said in a cold voice, tutoring is fine, but I never said I'd go to your house. Hearing this, I placed one hand on the back of her chair and the other on her desk, facing her just like that, and used my ultimate move. You wouldn't want the matter of you. Gu Qingluo immediately panicked. Going to your house is fine, but someone has to be home. I answered seriously. There will be. Gu Qingluo said no more. After she finished packing, she hugged her pink school bag with both hands, faced me and nodded, half believing, half doubting, looking very cute. I smiled happily, always feeling like I had successfully tricked her. Puffed. What do you mean? Tricked. I am treating her like my own daughter. Seeing that everyone else in the class had left, Gu Qingluo and I also hurried downstairs to assemble. I intentionally waited for her to walk together, but I found Gu Qingluo, with her bag on, was walking slowly behind, as if intentionally keeping her distance from me. I didn't mind her, and wearing my own blue school bag, walked towards the gym, downstairs with my hands in my pockets. Only then did Gu Qingluo, wearing her pink school bag, quicken her pace. Seen from behind, our matching blue and pink school bags were very eye-catching, looking a bit like a couple. After arriving at the gym and warming up, the gym teacher announced free activity time. All the students cheered in unison and scattered in an instant like birds from a cage, while I ran to the basketball court with a few other guys. Gu Qingluo walked towards the steps to put down her school bag. Arriving at the steps, she carefully placed the school bag in her lap, then took out her Chinese literature book in front of her. But after opening it, her eyes, which should have been on the words, automatically glanced towards the basketball court. At this moment, I dribbled the ball and quickly passed a player, making Wang Haoren stumble left and right. Then I did a 3-step layup, a powerful dunk, making the rim shake violently. I landed stylishly and rolled my neck on the steps. Gu Qingluo's beautiful eyes widened in amazement, clearly stunned by my handsomeness. Beside the basketball court, Lin Meng Yao, who was watching with her 2 best friends, was also dumbfounded. Wang Hao recovered from the shock and spoke up in surprise. Su Chen, you can freaking dunk? They were considered the main basketball players of the class, and it wasn't like they hadn't played with me before, but this was the first time they knew I could dunk. Being able to dunk as a student makes a guy a god on the basketball court. I was a bit surprised myself. Ever since I was reborn yesterday, I found that my strength had increased quite a bit, and my vertical leap had naturally increased too. Is this considered a surprise gift from being reborn? Damn it, you could have just increased my IQ. What the hell is the use of increasing my strength a little? Can it help me pass the college entrance exams? On the sidelines, Lin Meng Yao's face was slightly flushed, and she shouted excitedly, Su Chen, you were so handsome just now. I gave her a cold glance, and then looked away, towards the distant steps. Suddenly, our eyes met. The moment our gazes locked, Gu Qingluo immediately turned her head away, clutching the Chinese literature book to her chest, and started moving her lips, deliberately pretending to be memorizing her text. But one of her earlobes was blushing red. This little girl is still sitting there, as expected. I am playing so handsomely, and a girl like you doesn't even come over to watch. Then I withdrew my gaze, and noticed that Lin Meng Yao and her 2 best friends were still looking at me with sparkling eyes. Su Chen, that dunk of yours just now was really cool. Lin Meng Yao spoke up again. Her tone felt like someone who rarely compliments others, making a compliment a rare occasion. I gave a cold not even bothering to look at her. Hearing Lin Meng Yao's praise, Wang Haoran stared at me, completely unconvinced, as if he would explode if he looked any longer. He frowned, flicked his center-parted hair. No one can beat me at basketball. Su Chen, wanna go one-on-one? Hearing this, I raised my middle finger. You scrub. After saying that, I looked behind me, and my expression suddenly changed. I dashed towards the steps. I saw a crowd of students gathered by the steps. I pushed through the crowd and found Go Qing Luo sitting on the ground, clutching her right ankle with a pained expression. Gym teacher Wang Ping asked, "What's wrong?" A girl next to her said hesitantly, "Just now. I think I saw a girl push Gu Qing Luo from behind, and then she fell off the steps." I said coldly, "What did that girl look like? What class is she in?" Wang Ping glanced at me. "Why does this guy sound like he's out for revenge?" That girl lowered her head and said softly, "I didn't see clearly. She ran away. Damn it. What kind of person is that? Don't let me catch her." I cursed out loud without any attempt to hide it, then rushed to Gu Qing Luo's side and squatted down. "Give me a hand. I am taking her to the nurse's office. The girl I went through so much trouble to save. Some reckless fool is harming her." A few girls immediately came forward to help Gu Qing Luo up. Gu Qing Luo hopped on one foot, staring blankly at my broad, uniformed back. Hesitating for a moment, seeing no reaction from her, I turned back impatiently. "What are you waiting for? Get on." Gu Qing Luo bit her lip, spread her arms, and gently lay her upper body on my back. At this moment, my angry face suddenly became calm. Seeing me squatting on the ground in a daze, the gym teacher frowned. "What's wrong? Can't carry her. If you can't, let me do it." Hearing this, Gu Qing Luo wrapped her arms around my neck, her earlobes bright red, her expression extremely embarrassed. I, on the other hand, quickly said with clear eyes, "No, no, my leg just fell asleep. It's better now." Saying that, I quickly stood up and gave the gym teacher a forced smile. The gym teacher looked at me strangely. After I stood up, I supported Gu Qing Luo's two legs with my hands. Seeing the girl was about to slip down, I lifted her up a little again. At this moment, it felt like the whole world was weighing on my back. In that instant, I couldn't describe this feeling. If I had to describe it, I can only say that for the soft girls of one's youth. I gained a deeper understanding of this word. Whoever gets to marry her in the future will be so incredibly happy. I wouldn't get tired of hugging her all day. I carried Gu Qing Luo to the steps. I bent down slightly to let Gu Qing Luo get her school bag. Then I took 2 more steps forward to let her get my school bag as, "Well, just hang my bag around your neck. It's very heavy. Your neck will hurt." Gu Qing Luo's voice sounded right by my ear. I saw her holding a bag in each hand, afraid that her arms would get tired. I quickened my pace towards the school infirmary. At this moment, the girl's face showed a smile like the warm sunshine of a spring day. Very quickly, we arrived at the infirmary. I carried Gu Qing Luo around in a circle, but I didn't see the doctor anywhere. "Where's everyone?" I went around one more time. Still didn't see anyone. I could only put Gu Qing Luo down on the bed, which was covered with a white disposable sheet. The girl sat on the edge of the bed, her toes barely touching the ground. I searched around again. Still no one. Fine then. I'll do it myself. I brought over a small stool and sat opposite Gu Qing Luo, but she suddenly closed her legs tightly and asked cautiously, "What are you doing? Let me see if you just sprained your ankle or if it's dislocated, or if it's a fracture." Both of Gu Qing Luo's earlobes turned red, but her tone was still cold as she asked, "Do you know how to check?" "Nonsense. Back in my hometown, I used to set bones for the sows in the village all the time." Gu Qing Luo asked in confusion, "Why would a sow?" Suddenly, she realized something. Embarrassed and angry, she raised her fist and punched me on the shoulder. I laughed out loud. At the same time, I reached out and grabbed Gu Qing Luo's right foot. The canvas shoes on her feet were very clean, but there were many cracks on the edge of the sole. The cracks had even turned yellow. It seems they were bought a long time ago. I took off her shoe. A clean white sock appeared before my eyes. Gu Qing Luo shyly bit her lip and kept her legs pressed together tightly, but my next action made her so embarrassed and angry that she wanted to kick me to death. I moved quickly, bringing the white-socked foot with its extremely beautiful arch up to my nose, and sniffed it. Before Gu Qing Luo could even react, she heard me ask weirdly, "It's been all day. May I ask why your feet don't smell? Are you sick?" Even someone as cold and calm as Gu Qing Luo couldn't help but curse out loud at this moment. I pouted and grabbed the right foot again that Gu Qing Luo had just pulled back into my hands. "Does it hurt?" Gu Qing Luo nodded shyly and hummed softly. "Then it'll be more gentle." A moment later, my expression relaxed a bit as I said, "It's nothing serious. It's just a sprain. It's not that swollen either. Just apply some safflower oil and it'll be fine." After saying that, I turned around and searched the drawer behind me, and sure enough, I found half a bottle of safflower oil. It's common for students to sprain their ankles at school. I guess in this situation, the school doctor would just apply this for them too. I sat back down on the small stool and placed Gu Qing Luo's right foot on my knee, preparing to apply the medicine, but right after that, she pulled her foot back again, saying with an unnatural expression, "Let me apply it myself." "How dare you?" As I said that, I looked up and yelled at the girl, who was sitting on the bed. Gu Qing Luo's right leg froze. I took the opportunity to grab her leg again, and chided her. It's a special situation, what's there to be shy about? I really don't know what to do with you girls. Always so shy and reserved. It's not like I am doing anything to your foot. But less than a few seconds later, Gu Qingluo asked in a cold tone, you're only applying it to the ankle. Why did you take my sock off too? Hearing that, I slowly looked up. Did I? Gu Qingluo bit her lip and questioned, what's that in your right hand? I looked down and found my right hand was holding the white sock I had just taken off. Soon after, Gu Qingluo, embarrassed and angry, pulled her foot back and snatched her white sock back with a displeased look, not forgetting to glare at me. That look of disgust was as if she were looking at a disgusting foot fetishist. She turned her back to apply the medicine, put on her sock and shoe, put on her school bag, and left the infirmary. I chased after her, explaining, it's not like that. Listen to me. My hands sometimes don't listen to me. Gu Qingluo ignored me and walked ahead with her head down. At this moment, the small room inside the infirmary opened, and two men who were hiding inside walked out. The young school doctor was wearing a white coat, and behind him was a middle-aged man. He was the grade 12 dean, Ji Hao. The grade 12 students often affectionately called this Dean Ji Ritian. The school doctor said, a little speechless, Dean Ji, it's just a hemorrhoid checkup. When the students came, you could have just pulled up your pants. Why did you have to pull me into hiding? Ji Hao's face was pale as he patted the other man's shoulder. Xiao Wu, two men, in a small room in broad daylight, and I was in the middle of pulling up my pants. What do you think the students would think of us? Dr. Xiao Wu's face suddenly froze. He was immediately speechless. School was over by now. Gu Qingluo said she wanted to go back to the classroom to study, so I let her go towards the academic building, while I went to the bike shed to get my bike and go home. When I walked my bike to the school gate, I couldn't help but think about Gu Qingluo's sprained ankle. I wonder where this girl's house is. Is it far? In this condition, would she have to limp all the way home? I sighed, patted the bike seat, and helplessly turned back towards the academic building. I'll take her home today. Arriving outside the window of class 12 to 28, I slowly slowed down and then stopped. The classroom was empty. Gu Qingluo wasn't studying at all. She was limping on the teacher's platform, holding the blackboard eraser, trying to tiptoe to erase the writing on the blackboard. The third period in the afternoon was history, and the history teacher was a man who was 1.9 meters tall, who loved to write way up high on the board, so it was a bit difficult for Gu Qingluo to erase. She tried to raise the eraser, her right hand raised very high, but she still couldn't reach the top of the board. Those lines of crazy cursive-like writing. My gaze quietly shifted to the cleaning duty corner of the board. On it was written, blackboard and platform duty, Su Chen. On the platform, Gu Qingluo dejectedly lowered her hand. She really couldn't reach. She stood there resting for a moment, then took a deep breath, and shouted, ha, then jumped up on one foot, stretching her arm out with all her might, to reach the top of the board. But just as the eraser was about to touch the writing, a large hand appeared in Gu Qingluo's line of sight. That hand snatched the eraser from her. Gu Qingluo turned her head, and her heel landed on the floor, but her injured ankle caused her to fall uncontrollably to one side. Seeing this, I quickly grabbed her hand and pulled her back. Our eyes met. Gu Qingluo looked as if she had done something wrong and had just been caught. She quickly stepped back and said anxiously, Didn't you go home already? I stared at her, without rushing to answer, tossing the eraser in my hand. Then I raised it and easily reached the writing at the top. I wiped the blackboard clean, then tossed the eraser onto the platform. No wonder, when I didn't erase the board before, the teachers never came looking for trouble with me the next day. Let me ask you, do you always help me wipe my butt? At this point, I rubbed my forehead and corrected myself. I mean, help me wipe the board, not my butt. Gu Qingluo turned her face to the side and said without looking at me, it's not me. After the girl finished speaking, her eyes looked a bit panicked as if she had a guilty conscience. She raised her head again and quickly glanced at me. If there's nothing else, I have to continue studying. After saying that, she turned to leave the platform. I quickly pulled her hand back. Don't study anymore today. Your foot is injured. I'll take you home first. You can study when you get home. Gu Qingluo immediately refused. I don't need you to take me. I frowned. Then where do you live? Is it far? She shook her head and said, it wasn't far. I looked at her doubtfully. I wasn't sure if Gu Qingluo was just unwilling to let a stranger come to her house. After all, this girl's self-esteem is very high. So I didn't force her. I just pestered her, saying, it's fine if you don't want me to take you, but you can only study until 6:30. You have to go home at exactly 6:30. I'll stay in the classroom to watch you. Gu Qingluo turned to look at me with a resentful look. Then I won't study anymore. I'll go home right now. I smiled and nodded. Ah yeah, that's more like it. After waiting for her to pack her bag, I went to the classroom door. At this moment, there was movement on the platform again. I turned to look and found Gu Qingluo was carefully wiping the chalk dust off the platform. And my duty as the person on cleaning duty indeed included both the blackboard and the platform. This girl said she didn't help me with cleaning duty. This is doing the whole set. After she finished cleaning the platform, she put on her school bag and came over, with her head down. She walked quickly past me with an unnatural expression. I chuckled and followed behind. The 5 words Tsundere ice block suddenly became personified. I walked my bike with the girl to the school gate. the two of us preparing to go our separate ways. But I still patted the backseat of the bike and said, "How about I give you a ride home? It's no trouble." Gu Qingluo clutched her sleeves tightly and looked at me with a troubled expression. "There's no need. If my dad sees a strange boy approaching me, I will." Hearing that, I was a bit stunned. "Will what?" Gu Qingluo lowered her head and said in a tiny voice, "Hell chase people away with a stick." Hearing this, I raised an eyebrow. "Your dad is that fierce?" A hint of embarrassment flashed across Gu Qingluo's face. She nodded slightly, then turned and walked in the opposite direction. I shouted, "Hey." Gu Qingluo turned around and looked at me doubtfully. I said helplessly, "Don't you have any manners? You're going home after school without saying goodbye?" A rare smile appeared on Gu Qingluo's cold face. She said softly, "Goodbye." I stood there and smiled, a smile full of kindness, seeing the girl's slightly wobbly walk, but that there was no major problem. I turned around and rode my bike away with peace of mind, heading towards my home. Hearing the sound behind her, Gu Qingluo immediately turned her head back too. She stood still, staring at my back as I rode away for a long time, until I disappeared into the crowd on my bike. Gu Qingluo finally turned back around, and after I got home, I pointed a finger at the ceiling and shouted a grand declaration to my parents. "I want to study hard. I want to strive for the top. I want to get into a top university." Hearing me shout, my mom clapped very cooperatively. My dad, sitting at the table, burst out laughing and spat the melon seed shells in his mouth onto the floor. Then I said very proudly, "In the last final exam, I was second to last in the grade. I've made progress." Suddenly, the melon seeds in my dad's hand fell to the floor. He looked over in astonishment. "Is that for real, son?" It's no wonder he had this expression, because for 2 consecutive years, I had firmly held the position of last place in the grade. Of course, it's true. Someone was absent for the exam, so I naturally became second to last. For next month's test, I won't have to sit in the last exam room, in the very last seat anymore. The smile on my dad's face immediately froze. He casually threw the melon seeds onto the plate. Listening to this kid talk made me waste a few seconds of my life. I remember back in the day, on a 100-point test, I could score 37 points. And you, on a 150-point test, you only score 20-something. Truly, each generation is worse than the last. You didn't inherit any of my top student genes. As soon as he said that, I fell silent. It seemed I had found the reason for my poor grades. Dad waved his hand. "Forget it. It's like playing a lute to a cow. I am going to check on the supermarket." At this point, my mom asked doubtfully, "Isn't Aunt Liu there?" "What are you going for?" Dad looked helpless. "Aunt Leah's grandson was born. She quit to go home and take care of him. The supermarket is short-staffed now." Hearing this, an idea suddenly popped into my head. I quickly said, "Dad, I have someone who can replace Aunt Liu." Dad asked doubtfully, "Who is it?" "Let's hear it," I said very seriously. "It's a classmate of mine." Dad shot me a look. "A student? Then what's there to see?" I quickly pulled my dad back and pleaded, "She can watch the supermarket after school in the evening. We can just pay her a little less, right?" Dad thought in silence. "That's true. I'll delay her studies. Then you'll have one less competitor in the college entrance exams." I looked at my dad, and though I marveled at his strange logic, the corner of my mouth still twitched. I forced a smile and gave him a thumbs up. Dad is still the most enlightened one, truly worthy of being the top student who scored 37 points back then. Dad raised his head smugly. "Of course." Mom quietly shook her head from the side. "This father and son are hopeless, beyond saving." Dad laughed and patted my shoulder. "Bring her to see me for an interview tomorrow." I am heading to the supermarket first. After Dad left, I looked around the living room and asked doubtfully, "Where's Su Qingshui?" Mom glanced at my sister's bedroom door. "Before you came back. She just got a scolding from your dad and me." I asked doubtfully, "Why?" Mom whispered to me, "Your sister has been getting too close to a fool." At the gate of No. 65 middle school recently, the teachers reported it. "Your dad and I are worried she'll be bullied. Even though the other person is a fool, he's still a boy." After all, just then, my sister Su Qingzhu's bedroom door suddenly opened, and the little Lola's head peeked out, shouting loudly, "Uncle Overalls is not a bad person." She stood at the door, pouting, with an indignant expression, then immediately shut the door again. Seeing this scene, my mom and I looked at each other, speechless. After hearing my mom's whispered explanation again, I finally understood. It turns out that at my sister's middle school, that is, at the gate of Lucheng No. 65 middle school, there's always a foolish middle-aged man loitering around, who the students call a fool. But hearing Su Qingxue call him Uncle Overalls, I suddenly recalled this memory. My middle school was also No. 65, and that foolish uncle, back when I was in middle school, was already loitering at the school gate. Although this uncle was foolish, he was very handsome, and his clothes were very clean. It was clear that his family took very good care of him. Moreover, he really liked wearing a pair of overalls, which had a sort of contrasting cuteness. But when I was in middle school, the other middle school students loved to bully this man, either by throwing stones at him or deliberately hitting him on the back, then immediately laughing and running away. At these times, Uncle Overalls was always helpless. Back in middle school, I couldn't stand it and would step forward to stop them. But I remember there was a female student from the same school who couldn't stand it even more. This girl once even hugged a broom, and charged at the group of bullies, who were some middle school boys, chasing them away. In that moment, I thought she was very cool, like a valiant and majestic heroine, protecting world peace. But I didn't know her name. I only remember this girl was skinny, her hair was very long and also very messy. Her face was completely covered, perhaps because this girl took great care of Uncle Overalls. So when Uncle Overalls saw her, he would always smile, as if looking at his own daughter, acting extremely close, and even dancing happily. Staring at my sister's bedroom door, I suddenly fell silent. Back in middle school, there was a steadfast female student who protected that Uncle Overalls. Over time, this girl must be like me, is in high school now. So Uncle Overalls has lost his protector. My sister has taken the place of that female student, inheriting her spirit of justice, choosing to continue protecting that Uncle Overalls. Thinking of this, I turned my head to look at Mom. Mom, I think you should understand the whole story first, before deciding whether to criticize my sister or not. Mom was stunned, clearly not understanding what I meant. At this point, I stood up and walked towards my sister's room. The 14-year-old Lola's room was decorated very femininely. Just stepping in felt like one foot was stepping into a pink ocean, delicate and romantic. Can't be helped. She's Mom and Dad's biological child, while I was picked up from a trash can. But in my impression, Gu Qingluo also seemed to really like the color pink. What are you doing in here? Su Qingshu looked up at me and pouted, with an extremely annoyed expression. I leaned against the door, with my arms crossed over my chest, and said with a smile, "Let me tell you a secret. When I was in middle school, I also had a pretty good relationship with that Uncle Overalls." Hearing this sentence, Su Qingshu's small face was stunned. Really? I nodded and said, "Because he's very cute, very gentle, and never bullies anyone. But a lot of middle school students bully him, so I protected him a few times." Su Qingxue looked at me in surprise. The older brother, who had been labeled a problem student since middle school, actually had such a kind side. Su Qingxue nodded. "That's right. He's a very good person. This afternoon, I even saw a very, very beautiful older sister, very kindly sitting on the steps across the street, feeding him rice." I didn't show any reaction, but I don't know why he's so persistent, always hanging around the gate of No. 65 middle school, as if he has some kind of obsession. Even though he's often bullied by middle school students, he refuses to leave. Thinking of this, I instructed my sister, protecting him. I fully support that. But if you encounter a situation you can't handle yourself, you must tell me. I'll be there right away. Got it? Su Qingxue immediately smiled and nodded, swinging her fair, slender legs. So cute. After leaving my sister's room, I immediately went back to my own room and pulled out from under the bed a dusty cardboard box. Inside were all the textbooks from 10th to 11th grade. After neatly organizing the textbooks, I moved all of them onto my desk. I had almost no foundation for the 10th and 11th grade curriculum, because I basically didn't listen in class at all. I vaguely remember many teachers gave the most common evaluation of me as, "This student is actually very smart, but he doesn't put his mind to studying." This time, I will put my mind to studying. I want to see if you people were being sincere when you praised me for being smart, but reading really makes you sleepy. I tried my best to choke myself, but I really couldn't fight off the drowsiness, and soon slumped over the desk and fell asleep. The next day, I rode my bike to the school gate very early. Walking my bike, I muttered under my breath, "I want to study. I love studying. I swear I am not human if I don't become the top student in Lucheng." At that moment, I suddenly noticed Lin Mengyao was stopped by a teacher. It's one thing not to wear a uniform in the morning, but her skirt is also that short. "What grade? What class?" The teacher with glasses scolded her sternly. I acted like I didn't see anything, and walked my bike through the school gate. Lin Mengyao suddenly looked up. After seeing my back, she rubbed her eyes in disbelief. "Did the sun rise from the west today? This guy came so early." The bell for the first period rang. I quietly placed the buns I bought into Gu Qing Luo's desk drawer. "Don't say anything unnecessary. Eat it after class." At this moment, Gu Qing Luo stared at my neck, wanting to say something but hesitating. I quickly explained, "Don't worry. I studied too late last night. I choked myself on purpose to keep myself awake." Gu Qing Luo gave me an incredulous look. Then, as if she reacted, she said with a cold face, "I wasn't worried." I smirked, closed my eyes, and slumped onto the desk. Listening to lectures now is useless. My foundation is not solid yet. Listening now is like listening to thunder. So I chose to slump on the desk. 1. To rest. 2. To consolidate the knowledge I learned yesterday in my head. Gu Qing Luo touched the warm bun and pursed her lips slightly. While I was sleeping, she secretly put 2 of them into the plastic lunchbox she brought. Actually, I noticed, I just didn't expose her. About 10 minutes later, I lifted my head from the desk. Seeing me wake up, Gu Qing Luo quickly turned around and confessed with a very serious expression, "I just secretly ate 2 buns." I turned to look at her and said with a smile, "If you secretly ate them, you secretly ate them. Why are you reporting it to me?" Gu Qing Luo lowered her head, looking very embarrassed, then quickly turned back around. Her earlobes bright red. You could tell she wasn't good at lying. But this was the first time I felt that someone could be so cute when they lie. Just then, the biology teacher on the podium spoke. "A normal person's heart rate is 60 to 90 beats per minute. Do you all know the principle behind a lie detector? The pulse is one of the bases for a lie detector's judgment. Now you can, with your deskmate, try to measure each other's pulse. Lie detection by pulse. Hearing that, I turned around, a bit bored. Gu Ching Luo, however, was very flustered, hiding both hands behind her back and staring at me warily. I asked in surprise, "What are you doing?" The biology teacher said with a smile, "You can take this opportunity to ask your deskmate a question and see if their pulse speeds up when they answer." The whole class quickly turned to face their deskmates, eager to ask them a question. I said casually, "Go ahead, ask." Gu Ching Luo thought for a moment and then said, "Do you like eating vegetables?" The corner of my mouth twitched. It's all right. Can't this silly girl ask a more exciting question? Don't you want to know anything about me? Just ask. Of course she did. But Gu Ching Luo didn't dare to ask. She shook her head gently, looking at me with a calm expression. I was just about to reach out and measure Gu Ching Luo's pulse when she nervously pulled her hand back. Seeing this, I glared at her. What the hell? Are you worried about hiding the buns, or are you worried about something else? Could it be that this little girl has another secret? I frowned and said unhappily, "Why won't you let me take your pulse?" Gu Ching Luo's small face turned serious. No means no. Then listen to your heartbeat. After saying that, I slowly moved my ear closer to her chest. The girl tensed up and moved back, until her back hit the classroom wall. With no room to retreat, I smirked, and shamelessly continued to move my ear closer, but I knew my limits. I didn't actually press my ear against her chest. I am starting to ask. Now, the girl remained silent, and unconsciously tensed up. I asked with a mischievous smile, "Do you have a secret crush on someone?" Hearing this question, Gu Ching Luo's ears turned bright red in an instant. Her beautiful eyes widened, and she turned away with a very unnatural expression. How boring. Of course not. I chuckled. If I am going to ask, it has to be something exciting. I seriously tilted my ear to listen, but then I frowned. I don't know if it's because the class is too noisy, or because the distance is too great, but I couldn't hear a heartbeat. Just then, the biology teacher clapped his hands. Okay, have you successfully verified it? I stood up reluctantly. Not yet. The biology teacher looked over. Why not? Student Su, Lin Meng, Yao also turned around. Just thinking about the scene of me and Gu Ching Luo touching wrists just now, she felt waves of annoyance in her heart. Since yesterday, she has been distracted, her mind full of me. I put both hands behind my head and said unconsciously, because the time was too short. The morning classes ended quickly. It was time for lunch. Lin Meng Yao walked to the back row. Su Chen, can you eat lunch with me today? I glanced at her contemptuously. No, I have to study. After saying that, I took out my 10th grade textbook, opened it on the desk and started reading. Lin Meng Yao stomped her foot angrily. What are you pretending for? With your grades, what is there to study? Are you deliberately being mad at me? Hearing this, Gu Ching Luo gave Lin Meng Yao a cold glance, then lowered her head and continued studying. I slammed the desk and pointed to the classroom door, saying, "Leave on your own if you know what's good for you. Don't make me kick you out." Lin Meng Yao was so hurt she wanted to cry. Her best friend, who ate with her, immediately pulled her outside. Let's go. Let's go. Why bother with him? After everyone in the class had left, only Gu Ching Luo and I were left. Meanwhile, Gu Ching Luo turned her head to glance at the person beside her and found that I was actually studying seriously, even holding different colored pens to mark the textbook. My change made Gu Ching Luo unable to help but smile. The next moment, I looked over. The girl immediately turned her head away and unnaturally flipped a page in her book. Time passed, second by second. Gu Ching Luo's set mealtime arrived. She stood up, and I stood up at the same time, stretching. Studying is so satisfying. I guess there's nothing left in the cafeteria. Gu Ching Luo ignored me and quietly left the classroom with her bag, while I leisurely followed behind her. After getting rice from the cafeteria counter, I walked to Gu Ching Luo's table and sat down opposite her. The girl looked up at me, then lowered her head and took small bites. I picked up my school bag and placed all the snacks from the supermarket on the table. Oh well. I knew there'd be no food left if I studied late, so I brought snacks. I muttered to myself, tearing open the packaging of the chicken leg, braised egg, and sausage, and putting them on my tray. I was about to eat when I suddenly stopped. What's wrong with me today? I have no appetite. Could it be because I usually eat too many of these snacks? So I looked up at Gu Ching Luo, opposite me, took her tray, and pushed my tray full of snacks over to her. Never mind. Today, let's switch and eat each other's food today. Gu Ching Luo looked up with a stunned expression. I quickly pointed a finger at her. Shut up. Gu Ching Luo looked at me blankly and kept her mouth shut, not daring to speak. I lowered my head and started eating. The girl quietly watched me eat the rice she had been eating, her long eyelashes trembling slightly. I took a bite of rice and said with relish, with a very smug and punchable expression, "Wow, so fragrant. Why is your rice so much tastier than mine?" But Gu Ching Luo didn't want to hit me at all. She quietly picked up her chopsticks and said very softly, "Thank you." But I pretended not to hear. After a while, I finished all the rice on my tray and said to her across the table, "Oh, right. My family's supermarket needs a cashier at night. I am officially informing you now. You've been hired." Jiu Qing Luo looked up in surprise again. I still pointed at her domineeringly. The salary is only half of a regular employee's. If you dare to say one word of dissatisfaction or refusal, you know the consequences. Gu Qing Luo looked at me quietly, then sat up straight very seriously, and nodded as if looking at her boss. No dissatisfaction. I agree. Hearing that, I looked at her with satisfaction. That's good then. Jiu Qing Luo happily continued to eat with her head down. She only ate one braised egg, then ate half of the white rice. Suddenly, Gu Qing Luo took out her lunchbox. Avoiding letting me see the buns inside, she placed it on her lap, then poured the leftover rice from the tray, the chicken leg, braised egg, and sausage into the lunchbox. I stared, dumbfounded. What are you doing? Gu Qing Luo looked up. Taking it home for my dad to eat. What? Taking it home for your dad to eat? I felt like my ears had heard something incomprehensible. Wait, you mean you're going to leave school now to bring this food to him? Gu Qing Luo nodded gently, seeing my expression, which seemed to disapprove. Jiu Qing Luo quietly stopped the action of continuing to put snacks into the lunchbox. After all, these snacks were brought by me. She sat there stiffly, with a somewhat awkward expression, as if waiting for me to take the snacks back or give another order, because she knew very well that I was only being kind enough to let her eat, not her dad. I don't understand. Actually, I've had a problem with Gu Qing Luo's father for a long time, forcing his daughter to steal bread from the supermarket to eat, and now making her bring food back from the school cafeteria. I really felt a baseless anger, welling up from the bottom of my heart. If it weren't for Gu Qing Luo's pride, I would have gone to her house long ago to settle the score with this parent. Damn it. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. If this were my daughter, I would have spoiled her to the heavens long ago. Thinking of this, I took a deep breath and slammed my hand on the table. Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. The two trays jumped from the impact. Gu Qing Luo was also startled. She looked up and looked at me timidly. 2 tears fell without warning. I am sorry. After apologizing, Gu Qing Luo quickly raised her sleeve to wipe her tears, then took the snacks out of the lunchbox, placed them on the tray, and pushed the tray towards me. I was stunned. What are you doing now? Gu Qing Luo lowered her head. I am full now. Thank you for giving me these things. Really? Thank you very much. So that I wouldn't misunderstand that she was sulking. Gu Qing Luo lifted her face and forced a smile that was uglier than crying at me. She knew it was already very kind of me to let her eat. She even thought she was being rude by thinking of bringing food to someone else. This little girl was about to make me laugh out of anger. I pushed it back again. Well, I didn't say you couldn't take it home for your dad. It's just, can't you at least eat the chicken leg and give him the rest? Jiu Qing Luo kept her head down low and gently shook her head. I am really full. I really can't eat anymore. This stubborn little girl. Oh well, there's nothing I can do with her. I couldn't bear to lecture her right now. After all, being filial is a good thing. If anyone's to blame, it's her dad. So I adjusted my emotions and said immediately, okay, let him eat. I agree. Put it in the lunchbox. Gu Qing Luo quietly raised her head to look at me, as if to confirm my expression. I forced a friendly and gentle smile to show that I didn't mind how she divided the food. Only then did Gu Qing Luo relax and pick up her chopsticks again, putting the food into the lunchbox, then putting it in her school bag. After standing up, Gu Qing Luo gave me a slight bow. Thank you. I thought to myself with a straight face, don't call me a good person. Don't call me a good person. Luckily, Gu Qing Luo didn't say it. Watching her back as she left the cafeteria, I sighed. How great it would be if she were my daughter, I thought to myself, then gave a helpless chuckle. After Jiu Qing Luo left the school, she didn't go home, but went to the gate of Lucheng Middle School. She used to attend middle school here. After crossing the street, Gu Qing Luo saw a middle-aged man from a distance, sitting by the green belt opposite the school. He sat very straight, his back upright, his eyes staring fixedly at the school gate, as if afraid of missing someone getting out of school. Seeing this scene, a smile appeared on Jiu Qing Luo's usually cold face. She quickly ran across with her school bag. While the middle-aged man wasn't paying attention, she tiptoed, like a mischievous little girl, quietly approaching him from behind, step by step, then quickly tapped him on the shoulder. The middle-aged man turned around abruptly. His handsome face looked left and right, but saw no one, so he turned back. Just then, a bright, smiling face appeared before him. Gu Qing Luo said with a smile, Dad, Luo. The middle-aged man looked at his daughter and also happily called her name, but right after that, he quickly stood up. He kept bowing and apologizing. Sorry. Dad didn't see Luo, get out of school. Didn't see Luo, get out of school, he mumbled. His tone of voice was very childish, like a 5 or 6-year-old child. His 10 fingers were also anxiously twisting together. He looked very wronged. Gu Qing Luo quickly helped him sit down and said comfortingly, it's because Luo ran too fast. So Dad didn't see me. Luo ran fast. Luo ran very fast. Dad couldn't keep up. The man repeated his daughter's words like a babbling toddler. Gu Qing Luo looked at him with a gentle expression. Then she took out a lunchbox and clean chopsticks from her bag. Let's eat. The man propped his hands on the steps, swinging his legs like a child. Jiu Qingluo didn't rush to feed him. She took out a tissue and a cup of water, poured water on the tissue to wet it, and then wiped the dirt off the middle-aged man's face. She said in a chiding tone, "How did you get your face so dirty?" Luo. Sorry, the man said, feeling wronged. Gu Qingluo said gently as she wiped. It's okay. Luo isn't angry. After saying that, she opened the lunchbox, wrapped the chicken leg in a clean tissue, and handed it to the man. Chicken leg, the man said excitedly, but he didn't reach out to take it. He looked at Gu Qingluo impatiently and urged her, Luo, you eat it, Luo. Hurry up and eat. The bad guys are coming. Gu Qingluo mimicked the man's tone. I've already eaten. I ate 2 of them. Dad, you should eat it. The bad guys are coming. After saying that, she picked up some rice with her chopsticks and brought it to the man's mouth. The man ate with great relish, swinging his legs excitedly. Just then, at the gate of No. 65 High School, Tuo Ching Shui skipped out, holding 2 freshly bought pineapple buns. She was about to cross the street when she saw that beautiful older sister sitting there again, feeding the uncle in overalls. Tuo King Shui stared for a moment, then a smile appeared on her face. She skipped back to school with her pineapple buns. Oh well, it's this older sister again today. She beat me to feeding the uncle in overalls. I'll have to come earlier next time. Around 1 p.m., Gu Qingluo returned to the classroom with her backpack and found me already sitting in my seat, reading and studying. It was a rare sight. She walked to her seat and actively smiled, saying, "Good afternoon." I turned my head in shock, sizing her up as if I'd seen a ghost. Gu Qingluo felt a bit uncomfortable under my gaze. She avoided my eyes and asked softly, "What's wrong?" I teased her. Whoa, the sun must have risen from the west. The rude ice queen actually greeted me first. Gu Qingluo said nothing and put down her backpack with a very awkward expression. She unzipped it and took out the textbook for the first period. I asked casually, "So, did your dad enjoy his meal?" Gu Qingluo said in a happy tone. He was very happy. I turned my head to look at her. Seeing the faint, overflowing smile at the corners of the girl's mouth, I asked curiously, "So is this why you're so happy this afternoon?" Gu Qingluo stared at me blankly. After a moment, she nodded dazedly. I scoffed. I really didn't know what to say, but there was nothing to say either. This girl is filial. I can't blame her. I could only remind her, "Go to the supermarket with me after self-study tonight. My dad's waiting for you there. He's the boss. He said he wants to interview you." Hearing this, Gu Qingluo turned her beautiful face towards me in surprise. I raised an eyebrow. Don't be nervous. Although my dad's a bit of an airhead, he's still pretty easygoing. He won't deliberately make things difficult for you. Only then did Gu Qingluo let out a sigh of relief. It was her first interview. She really didn't know how to handle it. Would she have to recite trigonometric formulas for him? After a moment, Gu Qingluo asked softly, "Why would you talk about your dad like that?" "I am not just talking about him. I want to talk about your dad, too. Your dad has 10 screws loose." As soon as I said it, a small, powerful fist suddenly punched me hard in the chest. That punch really hurt. I looked at Gu Qingluo in surprise and saw the girl glaring at me with red-rimmed eyes. Tears gradually welled up in the corners of her eyes, but very quickly, Gu Qingluo averted her gaze with complex emotions. "Sorry." Gu Qingluo apologized. The atmosphere became a little quiet. I rubbed my chest, took a deep breath and said, "All right, I am sorry too. Sorry. I know you're filial. I shouldn't have talked about your dad like that." Gu Qingluo turned her head away, not letting me see her tears fall. At this moment, her nose suddenly stung, and she felt very wronged. It was as if with my words, all these years, all her grievances, came pouring out from her heart. The weight of her past was suffocating her. But Gu Qingluo had never given up. She felt she was very strong. She also told herself to be strong. But when I said those comforting words, beside her, Gu Qingluo realized she had always been forcing herself to be strong. At this moment, her strong-willed facade seemed to shatter in an instant, under the cover of her hair. The girl's tears broke through like a dam. Seeing this, I couldn't help but speak. "I really don't know your family situation. If your dad has some special reason that makes it impossible for him to." "My dad is very normal." Gu Qingluo immediately interrupted me. I nodded and tactfully shut up. I could tell she didn't want to talk about it. But if Gu Qingluo was so protective of her father, perhaps her father wasn't a scumbag, but was bedridden for some other reason. But I couldn't figure out how a seriously ill patient could eat such flavorful food. During the 4 classes this afternoon, Gu Qingluo was very quiet. I wanted to talk to her, but seeing her cold expression, I gave up the idea. I don't know how much time passed. Finally, it was time for the evening self-study session to end. After packing her bag, Gu Qingluo followed me to the bike shed. I noticed her unnatural expression and asked, "Are you nervous about the interview?" Gu Qingluo looked at me and immediately nodded. I smiled. "What's there to be nervous about? Just think of my dad's head as a big radish later. No matter what he says, just nod and smile." That'll do." Gu Qingluo lowered her head. Her lips pursed slightly as if she was trying not to laugh. I like seeing her smile, because this girl is so beautiful when she smiles. It's just a shame she has a cold face every day. I pushed the bike out. Gu Qingluo silently walked with her backpack on. I looked at her in surprise. "There's a bike, but you're not riding it." You're walking? After saying that, I patted the back seat of my bicycle. Gu Qing Luo looked at the crowd at the school gate and stood frozen on the spot. Her small hands nervously and stiffly gripped her uniform pants. She stubbornly shook her head. What does shaking her head mean? Before I could ask, Gu Qing Luo turned away with a shy look, gripping her backpack straps with both hands. She quietly walked ahead with her head down. Watching the day students walk past one by one, I immediately understood. This girl was probably shy. After all, there were so many eyes at the school gate. Moreover, what if someone who knew Gu Qing Luo saw the Ice Queen School Beauty sitting on the back of my bike? This would definitely spread throughout the school tomorrow. I remembered a female student had previously sneaked up and pushed Gu Qing Luo down the stairs. I couldn't help but think to myself, I've been too careless. Gu Qing Luo has a certain reputation at school. Some people bully her, so there will definitely be people spreading rumors about her. I pushed the bike and deliberately slowed down a bit, creating a large distance behind Gu Qing Luo. After Gu Qing Luo noticed my considerate action, her tense heart relaxed a little. We kept a distance of 10 to 20 meters like that, walking one after the other. Gu Qing Luo would occasionally turn her head back to confirm if I was still following behind. I would then tilt my head and smile at her. After a long while, the two of us made a few turns, and there were no more students from No. 7 High School on the road. I quickly got on the bike and rode up beside her. Get on. No one will see now. Gu Qing Luo obediently walked around. She stood on her tiptoes and sat sideways on the back of the bike. I said in annoyance, if you don't hold on to me, you'll definitely fall off. Hearing this, Gu Qing Luo's long eyelashes fluttered. She slowly reached out her small, fair hands and gently grasped, like a petty thief, my uniform jacket. I was momentarily speechless. I started pedaling just like that, but I kept one hand free, ready to grab the girl behind me at any moment. The bike started moving. Gu Qing Luo immediately lost her balance. With a small grunt from her lips, she quickly spread her arms and tightly hugged my waist. Seeing that she wasn't too rigid, I chuckled softly and placed the hand I had prepared to protect her back on the handlebar. I said nonchalantly from the front, there's no one here to see. There's nothing between us anyway. So what if you hug my waist on the bike? Gu Qing Luo lowered her head, her ears blushing red. Her hands felt numb, afraid to use any force. She could only maintain the hugging posture. If someone else were riding the bike, Gu Qing Luo probably wouldn't have cared so much, nor would she be so stiff. But the person in front of her was me. The little thoughts hidden deep in the girl's heart. I, of course, didn't know. After her shyness, Gu Qing Luo had a rare, happy smile on her lips. If only the world could stop at this moment, she thought extravagantly to herself. But Gu Qing Luo knew well, happiness could belong to anyone, but it would absolutely not belong to her. She was the one chosen by misfortune. It had been like that since she was a child. At this time, I was humming a little tune and leisurely riding the bike towards my family's supermarket. Gu Qing Luo curiously raised her head. What song are you singing? I've never heard this song before. No way. I tilted my head slightly. My pedaling slowed down. I just remembered. This song seems to be one that was released in 2014, but this year is 2010. I smiled blankly. I almost forgot I was reborn, but I don't have a musical bone in my body, and I don't want to be a plagiarist. Being reborn, my first wish is to get into a good university, to make up for the regret of not attending college in my past life. In my heart, things after rebirth are divided into primary and secondary. Since I am already reborn, who would still put all their effort into making money? Before rebirth, I was a slave to money. After rebirth, do I have to do it all over again? That would be so boring. What's the most important essence of the word rebirth? First, it lets you regain your youth. Second, it gives you a chance to make money. The main purpose of my rebirth is to enjoy my youth. Of course, I still have to make money, but that's a conversation for after the college entrance exams. Besides, my old man has money. This is also one of the reasons I am not in a hurry. If I could get into the same university as Gu Qing Luo, that would also be a wonderful thing, but I think that's probably a long shot. Gu Qing Luo's goal is set on Tsinghua or Peking University. The seating arrangement for next month's exam is probably the only time Gu Qing Luo and I will cross paths. After the monthly exam is over, Gu Qing Luo will go back to her seat at the front, while I'll still be in the back row. Suddenly, I slammed on the brakes and stopped. Gu Qing Luo was startled. Her whole body bumped into my back. The softness behind me made me feel ecstatic for a moment. Then I collected my thoughts and looked seriously at the red light at the intersection ahead. I declared, passionately to the girl, Gu Qing Luo, I don't want to be last. I want to study hard. I want to get into a good university. By the crosswalk, passers-by turned their heads one after another and looked over with astonished eyes. Gu Qing Luo's earlobes turned bright red. She lowered her head from behind me. I'll do my best to help you study. Okay? The light is green. Hurry up and go. Gu Qing Luo urged in a small voice. She felt like she was about to fall apart. For the first time, she wanted to beat me up for being too extroverted. After a detour, we finally arrived at the supermarket. After Gu Qing Luo got off the bike, I parked the bike at the entrance and told her to wait outside for a bit. I'll go in and say something first. Gu Qing Luo stood there and obediently nodded, but her fingers wouldn't stop fidgeting with the hem of her shirt, betraying her nervous state of mind. Because this time, it wasn't just meeting the boss, It was also meeting my father. Although she knew well that meeting his father held no special meaning for her, she still couldn't help but be nervous. I entered the supermarket and saw my dad holding a notebook, comparing it to the goods on the shelf and writing something down. "Dad," I shouted loudly, startling the old man. "What are you yelling for?" I cleared my throat and pointed outside, saying, "The person's here." Just briefly explain the situation to her. Don asked too many questions. Hearing that, Dad walked over, a little excited. "They're here? Let me see who it is. Which unlucky kid is about to have their studies delayed?" My dad and I went outside. Guqing Luo, at the door, immediately turned around and said in a flustered tone, "Hello, uncle." The smile on my dad's face froze. He forced out a hello as soon as he said it. Dad hurriedly pulled my arm back into the supermarket. "You stinky brat. Where did you trick such a pretty girl from? I thought it was a boy. Aren't you afraid her dad will come after you?" I smiled smugly. "Dad, this is my deskmate." Dad quickly flicked my head. "This girl looks like a well-bred young lady. How could she be short on money? Did you trick her into something?" After saying that, Dad was about to take off his shoe to hit me. My muscle memory kicked in. I quickly turned my butt and dodged to the side, retorting, "I am not lying to you. She's willing." Dad charged over angrily. "That's not okay either. Tell her to leave." "You brat. Don't make it so I can't even open my supermarket." Then Dad kicked my butt, kicking me out of the supermarket. I stood at the supermarket entrance and scratched my head a bit awkwardly. Guqing Luo forced a smile, clasping her small, fair hands in front of her. "Classmate Tuo, I am going home now." After saying that, she lowered her head, the corners of her mouth twitching unnaturally. Then she turned around, her figure disappearing into the darkness. I was surprised by her sudden reaction and hurriedly chased after her, grabbing her arm. "Wait." Guqing Luo was forced to turn around, hiding her red-rimmed eyes under her hair. Even so, she still forced a very unnatural smile. "It's getting late. My dad will worry if he doesn't see me. I am going home now." She must have heard the argument inside, but she probably didn't hear clearly. She only knew that my dad and I were arguing. Guqing Luo's thoughts were already sensitive and insecure. This girl had come here feeling nervous and expectant, but the moment she heard the argument inside, she had attributed the cause of the conflict to herself. I turned my head to look at the supermarket, without letting go of her hand. I said seriously, "You wait a little longer. Just a little while. If you dare to leave, I won't be polite." I pointed at Guqing Luo and was about to go back into the supermarket when Guqing Luo quickly grabbed my hand and pleaded with red-rimmed eyes, "Don't fight." Her voice was trembling. I was stunned for a moment. After a moment, I smiled comfortingly. "Don't worry. Real men never use arguments to solve problems." After saying that, I walked to the supermarket door and kicked it open.